below. Welcome, Elena, and welcome, Shion.
Hi, Scott. We're so happy to be
Hello.
here. Can you believe it? We finished our 13 Weeks to Joy program. And today is our last session on the Joy program. So we started in the beginning of January, once a month, and we were talking about emotional health. That's a topic that usually we try to avoid it. We can talk about health in general. We can talk about even mental health. But we don't talk so much about emotional health because it does hurt when you talk about it. You talk about it and somehow it personally affects you. But we decided to be bold enough and brave enough to bring this topic on the surface because we all struggle in one or another way and we can all get better learning, how we can improve our emotional health. And so we discuss very interesting topics. We talk about shame and that's a very uncomfortable feeling. We face the shame. We talk about growth mindset and actually post-traumatic growth. We talk about how you can deal with your feelings, how you can enjoy the power of belonging. We also had a topic on compassion, topic on loneliness, topic on creativity, and also how you can help others, how you can volunteer and being generous to others and the benefit from it. We also had, last topic was about the science of awe, or to be awesome, or to expect awesome things from God, or to see awesome things in everything you're doing. But today we have like the culmination of all those 13 topics, and we will talk about gratitude. So I usually do it by myself, as you know, because I'm very passionate about it. But we have Shion here, Shion Shironishi. He's our mental health provider. And I have heard him speaking about the topic of gratitude, like on several sermons, several lectures. And I said, that would be awesome. I really need his input when we talk about emotional health and gratitude. The topic is called Thank God for Gratitude. So, Shion, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Yeah, it's
You
good
have
to be here again.
We're so happy to have you again, and I know that next year we'll see you more often
Yes.
because we will bring more of those topics. And actually, next year we'll start a new program, and it's gonna be called 13 Weeks to Love.
Oh, that's awesome.
So this year we were talking about 13 Weeks to Joy for those of us that have lost our joy. Life is painful, life is very hard, and some of us lose our joy and we don't know where to find it. So this year we dealt with that, but next year we'll deal with 13 Weeks to Love, and the next year, 2024, 13 Weeks to Hope. And after that, we'll talk about 13 Weeks to Peace, 13 Weeks to Faith, and 13 Weeks to Grace. So we have, stay tuned in, we have many things to talk about. And let's face it, let's talk about gratitude, Shion.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So gratitude. Gratitude is something that we have heard, many times we will say something and someone will say, just be grateful for what you have. And that's obviously not the nicest thing to hear, that you have to be grateful when you don't feel grateful at this moment, because life is hard at times. But there is a science behind gratitude, right? And so gratitude comes from the Latin word gratuit, which means free. And to be grateful is actually free, right? But gratefulness also comes with many health effects. And so, Shion, what is gratitude?
Oh, that's a straight to the question.
Straight to the question. How do you perceive gratitude? And why do we have to cultivate, the gift of gratitude?
Sure, yeah. I think, we're going to be answering the question of what is gratitude throughout this talk. And I think that I don't want to get too straight into the answer of that, but I do want to give some kind of answer. So I really think it's contentment, satisfaction with your life, where you're at with your life, and even who you are. And that's a huge thing. And I think that's what many of us are struggling, is contentment, having peace with where we are in life. And that's the struggle, I think. Yeah, that's why we struggle with having that gratitude in our lives.
Right. And so I've heard you saying that for you it wasn't coming naturally.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't come naturally for me. And I have seen people that say, I'm just grateful. And I see their life like really flourishing. And I'm saying, how come their life is so good? And how come my life is not that good? And how come I'm not grateful? No wonder I'm not grateful because my life is not going the way I want to go.
Right.
To go. But then later on, I discovered the power of gratitude. And actually, the more grateful you are, life becomes easier and nicer and better and happier. But it's not easy to get there.
Yeah.
So we'll discuss that process today.
Mm-hmm.
So many of us, if we go to a psychologist or we go to a psychotherapist, comes to a point that some point in our lives we need help.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When we go to psychologists, nowadays they are trained really to ask you to tell a few things what you're grateful for. And being at the end of the year, we can really do a resolution and we can really talk about how the year has gone. Maybe some of us didn't have the best year of their lives. Maybe it was like one of the most challenging ones.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was a little bit better than the 2 years of COVID that we had to face. But no matter what, every year comes with challenges and blessings.
Mm-hmm.
And so how can we express this gratitude that does not come naturally?
Yeah, so I really think that it's practice, right? You can't just ride a bike right away. You can't just, I like to surf, but it took me a long time to be able to surf a wave. And same thing as gratitude. It's really about practice. And I want to mention that, my profession is I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner. So to make it simple, I'm a psychiatrist/psychologist. So I really use gratitude to help my patients to overcome their depression, anxiety. And I know that you have some research to share too, but I know I've read a lot of research how they've had a group of patients who's suffering from depression, anxiety, and they asked them to write 5 things every day of what they're grateful for and to practice gratitude. And after even just simply 2 months, some research said even after 2 months, maybe even up to 6 months of just practicing gratitude every day, writing 5 things they're grateful for, they actually overcame depression, anxiety without any medications, without any other treatments, just with gratitude. It was possible to overcome depression, anxiety, and that's so awesome. But it takes practice.
It does take practice. It doesn't come naturally.
Mm-hmm.
When I was confronted with this question, what are you grateful for? You know, in a moment that you're living in scarcity and difficulties, pain, you can't. It doesn't come naturally. Like, oh, I'm grateful for the pillow. I'm grateful for the roof above my head. I'm grateful for the food in the fridge, because many people would wish they're not even here to have those things. You know, when pain really hits you, then you don't feel like you're grateful even for the food you have. You're like, I'm better off not even being here, because those feelings hit every one of us.
Right. Right.
And so there is another study that I really like from Wong and Brown, 2017, that actually studied 3 groups of people. The first group, which was a control group, they had received counseling. The second one, just counseling. The second one, they had to write down their deepest thoughts and deepest feelings about the negative experiences that they have gone through. And the third one, they had to write a letter of gratitude to a person for 3 weeks, consecutive 3 weeks. Yeah. I'm sure you know about this study. And what was very interesting, the 3 groups, they all received counseling. But the group that really benefited the most and expressed no anxiety and depression over a period of 4 months was the third group. Yeah. They weren't any different. They just expressed gratitude even to one person once a week. We don't come to us natural, and sometimes we don't even know how to receive like thank you, because it just we have forgotten about this skill and how important it is.
It's true. Yeah, I think it's really important. I just want to talk about one thing where people say have an attitude of gratitude, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's simple. But there's this speaker that I listened to, and she actually said an awesome thing in her presentation. I kind of just want to read it really quickly. But one thing that she talks about gratitude is practice. What we're saying, basically, we need to practice. But she says, For years, I subscribed a notion of an attitude of gratitude. I've since learned that an attitude is an orientation or way of thinking, and that having an attitude doesn't always translate to a behavior. For example, it would be reasonable to say that I have a yoga attitude. The ideals and beliefs that guide my life are very in line with ideas and beliefs that I associate with yoga. I value mindfulness, breathing, and a body-mind-spirit connection. I even have yoga outfits. But let me assure you, my yoga attitude and outfits don't mean anything if you put me on a yoga mat and ask me to stand on my head or strike a pose. Where it really matters on the mat, my yoga attitude doesn't count for much. As I'm sitting here writing this, I've never practiced yoga. I've never put the attitude into action. It seems that gratitude without practice may be like faith without works. It's not alive. So definitely, we're told have an attitude of gratitude, be grateful. But the thing is, it's hard to have this attitude unless if we don't practice it. And like she's saying, we could have some sort of yoga attitude, but if you can't do a handstand or you can't do whatever the yoga moves they do, doesn't mean anything,
Right. I mean, I would like to be more grateful, right? But if I just wish for that and don't practice it, I wouldn't go far away from that.
Yeah.
But so how can we get this attitude of gratitude? So it starts slow.
Yeah.
It doesn't start big. You won't wake up one morning and say, I'm grateful for this, and this.
Yeah.
But the more you practice it, the more you will start discovering in every single situation that something good is coming out of it.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
So people that are grateful are actually proven by science that are even physically healthier.
Mm-hmm.
Their bodies are healthier. They take care of their bodies even more faithfully. So another study, and I know you can add something to that, is that grateful people are more relationally healthy.
Yep.
Because when
true.
you say thank you to somebody, when you show appreciation, you kind of show to the other person that you're open for relationship, and it's a trustworthy relationship.
Yep.
And we'll continue with some more benefits of gratitude right after the break.
We are heading into our break. You can still find us on Facebook. Leave your question in the comment section below. Give us a call on Guam, 671-472-1111. And the CNMI, 670-323-1113. You can text, WhatsApp, signal us, 671-686-9999. We'll be right back.
There are two ways to paint a room. You could take the time to make it neat and tidy. Tape off the baseboards, use that special edging brush, roll the roller in the proper zigzag pattern. Or you can just open the can, lean back, and let it fly. Both methods put color on the wall, but only one really gives you the desired result. That's kind of how we do things here. At Joy FM, we take the time to lay the groundwork so you can enjoy the fresh, colorful finished product. You know when you found that perfect color? With Joy FM, you have the perfect radio station right here to brighten your space. We add just the right color where you need it most. Sometimes our budget needs a little touch-up. Your financial support covers a lot. Together, we're spreading the good news and bringing light and color to our community. To brush up on how you can help, just log on to joyfmradio.net. Family-friendly radio, Joy FM.
Every new journey starts with the first step. Blank page, fresh hope. Like good intentions, the resolutions you entertain will move past the point of being fresh and new. You might come to resent the very thing you promised. You could come to believe it's impossible to keep promises to yourself. Discouragement might set in. In His kindness, you have a promise from God. Even when you fail to keep your promises, even the ones you make to yourself, He faithfully keeps His promise to complete the work He began in you. He's as interested in you in August as He is in January. His mercies are like the first page in a new journal. Each sunrise is the sign of a fresh start. He can do in your life what you can't. His love extends beyond the moment of your last broken promise. Take this good news to your future discouragement. God is making you new. Let Him. Joy FM, family-friendly radio.
Si Joe Mossy, and thanks for listening to Total Health on Joy FM. We want to hear from you. Call in with your health-related questions at 472-1111 in Guam or in the Sinamai. The number to call is 323-1113. Text or WhatsApp us at 686-9999. And now, back to the show.
So before the break, we were talking about the different health effects that gratitude has. And it has so many more. And as Shion says, we're only scratching the surface. But so people that are grateful, they actually sleep better. Because several studies have shown that when you are grateful, your sleep is deeper, your pre-sleep thoughts are happier, and you sleep even longer. You have a better quality sleep quality. Also, if you struggle with PTSD or a trauma that it's a very painful event in your life, if you are grateful, if you find what to be grateful for, even though it hurts and you don't see it right now, but look for gratefulness, you can actually overcome a post-traumatic stress disorder. Very serious study showed that gratitude was a major contributor to resilience following the terrorist attack on September 11. Like, how can you be grateful for something like that?
Yeah.
Like, how can you find something good in that? You know, those are painful moments. And, like, do we really encourage people to look for moments like that? So we are not idealists. I have been a person that I'm a very negative person. You know, I come from a country where you, if you smile, it's kind of a bad token. Like, you have to be serious. And I can come with all the negative thoughts. If you give me something good, I can tell you what bad is in that. But if you give me something bad, it's hard for me to find something good in that. So unless I train myself to look for them, it's very difficult.
Right. It's true. I mean, who is taught to look for good things and bad things? And it's really hard, but it's so beneficial to even practice in those moments, especially. And in my field of work in psychiatry, I see a lot of patients that are ill and physically ill, and they have cancer or they have Parkinson or some kind of disease, and they're kind of like, how can I be thankful in the midst of my sickness, you know? How can I do that? But when they are able to, it really changes their life, and it's possible for sure. Yeah.
Right. It's very difficult to switch to the attitude of gratitude.
Right.
And I have seen very strongly, like, emotionally resilient people, even if they hear a death case, like somebody close to them that have died, they say, okay, let's kneel down and let's thank God that we had this daughter, had this son, had this mother and father for, this amount of years.
Yeah.
Because we had them.
Yeah.
They could have been gone much earlier. Like life is so unpredictable.
Right. Yeah.
And to find this attitude in a moment of your deepest pain is very hard.
Yeah. You know, and I think sometimes we think God in the equation too. We're like, you know, how can we be thankful and thank God, like, for this bad things that's happening? And, you know, sometimes we get even mad because we put God in the equation. But sometimes in life, it just happens. It's not because it's God's fault or anything. And, you know, we go straight to blaming and things like that. But it's so important for us to see what is that is good that's coming out of it. I know it's hard. It's not easy. But we always could find something that's good. And an example I can only give is from my personal experience, where I think I shared it from the last radio session, but my father left me when I was 10 years old, and that was really difficult, and it was really hard. And throughout my life, I knew I was really angry at my dad, and I couldn't forgive him. And I always thought, how can I be thankful about the situation about my dad leaving, and then my dad leaving caused my family to be a broken family. It caused a lot of issues, and how can I be thankful? But, you know, when I really just look towards God and say, God, what can I be thankful for at this moment? What is a blessing that you brought through this moment? I could look back and say, you know what? I learned resilience. I learned my character grew throughout the moment, and I got really close with my mom. You know, that was special. And if it wasn't for that experience, I don't think I'll be here, sitting here, because that's where I learn more about the love of God and how God is my true Father and how He helped me to see that I could rely on His love and that He's the only one that I could rely on. And that, to me, was special. And I'm very thankful because of that experience. I'm very close with God, so.
Right. I actually, Shion, had a revelation this year, and I consider that so important because I learned that even the pain can be a gift. I'm like, how? How can you say that? Like, anything else can be a gift, a blessing, but how can you say that pain is a gift? Actually, there is a book. It's called Pain, the Gift That Nobody Wants.
Oh, okay.
It's written by Dr. Brandt, and I am so fascinated about this book. I will just share a few things about that, what he mentioned. He went to, when he became a physician, he wanted to serve the Lord and go to a mission field. And he looked for the worst place in the world he can go.
Okay.
And so at that time, it was India. So he went to in India 1960s. And he saw a place that everybody was with leprosy. They were not having, parts of their bodies were like melting away. And he was like, wow, what can I do? They have no pain. Because the moment they lose the pain, that's the problem. They don't have the pain. So they can touch things, and sometimes you will see them, they will just walk through a fire. Or they will see a potato rolling down and going through the fire, and they will just go and pick it up. They don't have any pain. And then they burn, and they have blisters. He was like, wow, pain is very important. So he decided that he's going to do something special. He said, I'm going to prepare special gloves for those people, so when they touch something that can harm them, painful, this glove is gonna say, it's gonna have some light in it, so they will be startled.
Gotcha.
So he went back, did a glove, $1 million glove, came back, gave it to all those people with leprosy, and they will see the light shining, but they will keep on going because they don't have pain. They're like, okay, there is light, but it doesn't bother me because I don't see the danger. He said, oh, wow, that doesn't work. So he decided to make it like a buzz, like a buzzer. So when they touch something, it will buzz, but still that doesn't bother them because they don't feel pain. Oh, no. Then he said, no, I'm going to make them like a taser. So when they do that, and it shocks them so badly that they absolutely don't like it and they have to stop. And that was working for a while, but then they figured out how to turn off the bottom of this, glove, and they started turning it off. And he's like, wow, this is really not going very well. He said, I'm going to put, the knob on their back so they cannot reach and they cannot turn it off. Well, they asked their friend to do that. Just turn it off. I don't need that glove anymore. And he realized in that moment, he said, God, you have been so wise to take away from us the control of pain. If we had in our hands the control of the pain, we would have all turned it off, and it would have become so much worse. And he also said when he was coming back from India and he was going to a hotel in California, he slipped and he fell into a ditch. And he barely made it out of the ditch, went to sleep. And in the morning when he woke up, he got out of the bed and he fell on the floor. He was like, wow, I don't feel my leg. I don't feel my leg. He said, wow, there is something wrong with my left leg. He got a fork and he started stabbing himself. He said, I have no pain. He said, God, please return my pain. I must have gotten leprosy. He started making some phone calls. At that time, it wasn't so easy to treat it. And he started, collecting some antibiotics for that. And by the third day, by the time he got the medications, he woke up and he was able to walk. He pinched a nerve when he fell. That was the truth. And so somehow, sensationally, he wasn't able to feel it. He said, I believe from all the gifts, the best one is the gift of pain. Okay, maybe that's a very brave statement to say. But he goes into more details, and I highly recommend the book because the same pathways that go for happiness and pleasure and joy are the same pathways of pain. So one day, those people that struggle the most, they can be the happiest people because and God has promised that, you know, if you endure, like that's why God says, continue, persevere. When you continue, God will reward you. God will wipe your tears away. And who is going to be more joyful, the person that struggle or the person that never felt pain?
Yeah.
Right. But we don't say God created the pain, because God did not.
Right.
He just took the control of our pain.
Mm-hmm.
But God specializes in difficult situations. He can turn every situation into something better.
Yeah, I mean, pain alerts us too, like something's wrong and all these things. And I think that with pain, it comes with a lot of realizations about life and about God, about the world. And so it's such a necessary thing, even thinking emotionally, pain. And that's what leads us to being grateful. If we're not thinking about any bad thing in our lives, I feel like we're just going to live a comfortable life and not even thinking about things to be thankful for.
We'll take everything for
granted,
granted,
yeah.
right?
For sure. And so that's why these moments, these bad moments in our lives is what brings us to realization of, I am so grateful for what I have, and thank goodness for those moments.
Right. I actually have a story that I would like to share, and that's my favorite story. You have a favorite story. I have a favorite story. So it talks about a king that had a servant, and the servant will always tell him, "King, don't worry, everything bad serves for good."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Oh, I'm so tired of him. He always finds a reason to be grateful for. Why do I pay him money for? Like, he's always so positive."
Yeah.
And one time they went hunting. As they went hunting, the king just got stuck in the branches with his horse as he was racing, and he lost his little pinky. And he was like, "Oh, what type of a king I'm gonna be now? I don't have my little, pinky. I don't have my little finger." And the servant said, "Don't worry, king. It's for good. This will serve for good. Everything bad serves for good. Be grateful for that." He said, "How can I be grateful for losing my little finger? What good is in that?" He said, "Well, I'm tired of this servant. I'm going to send him to prison. I had enough. I paid such a salary for so many years, and he will always tell me, 'King, be grateful about that.'" Okay, I'll continue with the story. Stay tuned in just right after the break.
If you have a health question, give us a call on Guam, 671-472-1111. In the CNMI, 670-323-1113. We're streaming live on Facebook. Leave your comments in the comments section below, and we'll get your health question answered. You can listen live online, joyfmradio.net. Also, email health@joyfmradio.net. The topic for today is on gratitude. We'll be right back.
What do you do when you listen here? It doesn't have to be passive. You can pray when listening because other people will need to hear what you know is true. Tell others about this deep well that's soul-satisfying and refreshing. You can send a gift of support because your family recognizes this place as home. You get to enjoy it, share it, take care of it. You don't do it alone either. There's a growing number of yous out there who found a growing list of reasons to return. When what we do benefits you, it benefits all. When it benefits all, your original gift grows, spreads, and blows up. That's a good thing. When you listen, what do you hear? We hear hope released that's intended for your ears. Listen closely. You'll hear it. Maybe now. You'll recognize. And then you can share it. Just like we do. They can hear it just like you do. You can support us so we can continue to be there for you. Joy FM.
Welcome back. You're listening to Total Health on Joy FM. Call in with your health-related questions to 472-1111 in Guam. If you live in the CNMI, we want to hear from you too. Call 323-1113 or text or WhatsApp us at 686-9999. And now, here's more Total Health.
So we're continuing with my favorite story. And as the king sent away the servant to the prison, he went by himself hunting. Well, as he was hunting, he got caught by Aborigines, indigenous people, cannibals. And they decided that today is the day to cook the king and eat him up. Well, that wasn't an easy time for the king. But as they were about to push the king inside of the boiling pot, they noticed he doesn't have a little finger. And they are very superstitious. They would not sacrifice anything with blemishes to their gods. So when they saw that, they got so disappointed and let him go. Then, as he was walking back to the palace, he was thinking, wow, I was so wrong. How can I have been so wrong? My servant was telling me I have to be grateful for that, and I didn't see anything good in that. I was so wrong. And as soon as he came to the prison, he went out to the palace. He went straight to the prison. He went to his servant. He said, I was so wrong. You were so right. You told me I have to be grateful, but I didn't see a reason for that. And I even commit this sin against you. I send you to prison. He said, King, you did right.
Yeah.
Don't worry. You did the right thing. He said, what good is that I send you to prison? He said, because if you didn't send me to prison, we would have gone both hunting. They would have spared you, but they would have eaten me. So it was good you sent me to prison. So you see the attitude of gratitude. This servant had it, and in everything he can see it. And if we don't have it, and most of us we don't, it's something you acquire, it's something that you cultivate. Work towards that. And the more you start seeing it, like diving, initially you don't see animals, but like the more you dive, you start figuring out the shapes and the forms, and you're able to distinguish it and see more. It's the same with gratitude.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I think that through that experience, you can learn more and more about how can life be more beautiful through these chaos and through this pain that we go through.
Right.
So
gratitude helps with making friends. It helps to be healthier physically. It helps to sleep better. Not only science have proven that it makes you feel better, but you become a nicer person. You become a better person.
That's true.
And also increases your self-worth. When you see value in everything, then you see value in yourself as well. And also it helps you to recover from traumas.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I think that definitely I like that worth part. When you're such a ungrateful person, you know that kind of person. Everyone has experienced it themselves, or maybe a friend or a coworker. The way they are, you can see how they're just not happy with their life. They're not seeing their value. They're not seeing their worth. And so that comes out as ungratefulness and just an attitude of just really darkness and gloomy. And we don't want to be like that.
No, but the good thing is, like, when you're grateful to someone, that someone, you can boost even their day.
Yes.
You know, you can make their day. Like, they feel that they are worth something themselves.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways. It comes good to you. It comes good to the other people that you're taking them for.
It's true. Yeah. And I think that, it's really difficult to practice this gratitude in so many ways. And I think the way the world is the reason why we struggle with practicing gratitude. And one of the things that I've noticed that we struggle with gratitude is scarcity. And that's a huge thing. And I kind of have a story. I know, Elena, you just shared a story, but I love this story. I'm not sure if it's true or it's made up, but it has a good lesson to it about gratitude. But the story goes, there was a mother and a daughter who were on the way to church. The mother gave the little girl a quarter and a dollar for church. And she said to the daughter, put whichever one you want, either a quarter or a dollar, to the collection plate, and keep the other for yourself. It will be a gift to you, she told the girl. When they were coming out of church, the mother asked her daughter which amount she had given. Well, said the little girl, I was going to give the dollar, but just before the collection, the man in the pulpit said that we should all be happy and cheerful givers. I knew I'll be a lot more cheerful if I gave the quarter instead of the dollar, so I gave the quarter. And it's very cute. It's a funny story, but it's such a huge thing for us. We think the more we have, will be happy. Like this girl. This girl thought that if she has $1, she'll be more happy. And if she had a quarter, there's nothing to be happy about. And we see that in every aspect of our life. If we're not successful, if we don't have the money, if we don't have the relationship, whether that's girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, or wife, that you picture perfect, then we just cannot be happy. And so this life of scarcity, this idea of scarcity, it's really making us suffer a lot. And we can't be thankful about anything. Yeah.
Right. Unless we have that thing.
Unless if you have that thing.
I have suffered from that syndrome. It's called the syndrome of perceived value. I want this one thing, and if I don't have this one thing, like nothing else really matters in my life.
Yeah.
And God keeps on giving me so many blessings, but I'm just so blinded on the one thing. So one day I decided to write like a journal for all the prayers God answered me and all the prayers He didn't answer me.
Yeah.
Well, He answered all my prayers but 2. Okay. So who is a winner? Like
right.
And
are you gonna be sad about the 2 that wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
And so if we get to a point that no matter what happens in our life, we know that God has His best for us.
Yes.
That He wants our best. Like everything that happens in our life will be enough.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that I've heard a lot of people say this, that happiness brings gratitude, but I really disagree with that. It's that gratitude brings happiness. You could hear a lot of celebrities saying this, many famous sports players, actors, actresses who have a lot of money, mansions, and fancy cars. And they say they're not happy. They're really not happy at all with their life. And they have everything that people think that's going to create happiness. But they're just not happy. They're depressed. They're anxious. And they have nothing to be grateful for. And that's why we have to see it from the perspective of what can we be grateful with what we have? Are we content with our life where we're at, with the relationship we have, the things that we have at home, the home that we have? All those things. Are we really happy with that? And that's only possible through being just grateful with where you're at in your life, what you have in your life. Yeah, that's what brings true happiness.
I've heard you once saying, what about if whatever you want, God gives it to you? How much you're going to appreciate it? Right?
Yeah.
I want this, I want that. And we've all experienced that when you give kids everything they want. At some point, that they just lose interest. And
Yes.
oh, whatever. So you lose this value.
Right.
Unless you wait for it, you struggle for it, you pray for it.
Yeah.
Then that value, it really keeps on increasing in your eyes. And it is about everything.
Yeah, and it's very biblical too, because we're taught to be thankful. In Deuteronomy, God says to Israelites, be thankful for the food that I give you, right? So that's kind of what we do when we eat dinner, when we have whatever the meal, we say thank you, Lord, for the meal. We're kind of taught that as a child, right? And even I teach that to my little nephews, to be thankful, to do prayer right before they eat, and to say thank you to mom and dad or Uncle Shion that brings them the food. And that's something that God really wants us to learn. But the thing is, going back to the Israelites, they actually had an issue. God did provide for them, but sooner or later, they just wanted more. They weren't happy with what God was giving them. They said, if you know the story, manna, food fell from heaven for them. Water came out of the rock to help them with their thirst. But then they were like, we want more. We want better food. And they weren't grateful at all. And so the thing is, we could benefit from learning to say thank you, but if we're just takers and we just take, or I want more, it really leads you to a place of selfishness and arrogance, and you're ignorant to the things that you should really be grateful for in your life, which is God, and the things that God is doing for you in your life. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we realize that, Shion, once we lose those things, right?
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
I remember when I visited Africa many years ago, I really wanted to dive with the great white sharks. So I spent all the money going to South Africa, and the whole week I was there, the weather was just so bad. And so they canceled all the boats, and no diving boat was going. And I was just so upset.
Okay.
You know, I was like John under the pumpkin leaf. I was like, how, God, I spent all those thousands of dollars to come to South Africa, and I can't even see the great white sharks. At that point, I don't know why I thought this is the worst thing that can happen to me. And then I had a roommate. She was blind.
Okay.
She was blind. She was an architect. She gradually started losing her vision. And I had to show her where things are. She was more organized than me, you know, but she was like, and at some point we were talking. She said, did I hear correctly that you were crying because you didn't see the great white sharks? And I had no answer to that. You know, I have vision, and I am crying for that, and she's not able to see her kids.
Wow.
And after that, the next week I went to Zambia, where I was, you know, spent so much money on riding elephants and just enjoying myself. And I was talking to the people there. I said, what's your biggest dream? They said, our biggest dream is to eat pizza once in life. And I was complaining to them that now when I go back home, I have to be starving for 2-3 months because, you know, I'm on overspend money. And they said, and I was like, I wouldn't be eating for a whole month. And they said, only a month? I said, what do you mean? They said, we sometimes don't eat for a whole year.
Wow.
And sometimes 2 years. We eat every third day so our kids can eat every second day.
Wow.
And that time, you know, like the things that, this is all for granted.
Yeah.
And I do not realize it because it hasn't been taken away from me. But the more we're grateful, the more we can see those things.
Yep, for sure. I agree.
We're heading into our last break. We got 15 minutes left into the show. Give us a text, WhatsApp, signal us at 671-686-9999. Call us on Guam, 671-472-1111. In the CNMI, 670-323-1113. We're streaming live on Facebook. Go ahead and leave us a comment in the comment section below, and we'll get your health question answered. Send us an email, health@joyfmradio.net. We'll be right back.
I want my prayers answered now. I'm in debt. This chronic pain won't stop. My son is in in-school suspension because he said the wrong word to a teacher. And to top it all off, there's a mandatory meeting at work today about changes. I hate this. I just want all my problems solved now.
Problems seem to combine into one big mountain. But Psalm 61:2 says, "From the ends of the earth I call to you. I call as my heart grows faint. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I." If you're on a faraway mountain at the end of the earth, calling to God with a faint heart, know that God is even higher, with the ability to shrink your mountain to a molehill. And He will lead you to that rock that is higher. If your problems seem like a constant climb, just know that getting to a summit takes some struggle, but it's ultimately worth it. From Joy FM.
Family-friendly radio, joyfmradio.net.
And we're back with more Total Health. Give us a call with your medical questions. Number to call in Guam is 472-1111. If you're in the CNMI, the number to call is 323-1113. Or you can text or WhatsApp us at 686-9999. Now back to the program.
Okay, this is our last section on gratitude, and we would like to, pack so many things valuable that can keep us for the whole year, right? Mm-hmm. So what about if we don't have this gratitude? How can we start? And what will happen if we don't follow through? I don't know about you, but every time I try to be on a diet or every time I try to be on exercise plan, it stays for a long time, but I fall off every single time. Kind of this is a normal human behavior. God knew that we can do certain things, but we rarely follow through all the time at every moment. So if that happens to you, start over. And science even has proven that even occasional gratitude is so much better than not demonstrating gratitude at all. So start over again. We shouldn't be discouraged if we have to make effort again and again, because our lifestyle will change from negativity to gratitude when we are more intentional about it, when we have a focused, purposeful effort to cultivate the habit of dwelling on a true, noble, just, pure, and lovely, as Apostle Paul suggests. He says, whatever, brothers, is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. So work on that. I have heard Hollywood stars, as you were mentioning, saying, I don't want to serve a God that says, serve me, praise me, thank me, even for the difficulties. Like it's all about him. Okay, well, that's kind of a very harsh. And it can be perceived like this way. Like, how can I be grateful to God even when, like, I've done something so painful in my life, you know? I've lost somebody I really love. Like, what good I can find in that? Not realizing that we serve a God that he does everything for us. This is how love is, right? You do everything for one person, and that person does everything for you. So we praise God because he does everything for us. You might not see it right now, but God specializes in writing a better page. The next page will be a better page. And if it is not, the next one will be. But the more this is taken away from you, the better the story will end. So we need to understand that it's not about us. It's about him. And he will do everything about us.
It's true, And God does say that to us. 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18, says, rejoice always, pray without ceasing, and give thanks, and everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. And, if you're wondering what God's will is for you, hey, one answer there. Give thanks always, rejoice always, pray without ceasing. And I think that, it seems like God's telling us to do something like you're mentioning, but to me, I see it a different way. Why is he saying that to us? What's the purpose? And I think it's because it makes us focus on him. Then focus not in a prideful way or focus on me kind of thing, but we really see how God is good. God has been merciful to us and have given us many blessings. And when we see God, we remember what Christ Jesus has done for us on that cross and how he gave his life for us, sacrificed his life for us so that we could have eternal life. What better gift can we get than that? And that, to me, I see that we have so much to be thankful for through Christ Jesus. And, earlier we talked about how we want more. We want more in life. We want this, we want that. And that's what leads us to being ungrateful, not able to practice gratitude. But it's interesting, Psalms 23, verse 1, David is going through a lot in his life. We know David, his troubles, anyways, we're not even going to get into that. But David was going through a lot of hard times. It's interesting, though, he always focused on God. And Psalms 23, verse 1 starts off with saying, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. When David had his focus on the Lord, he saw that he's the shepherd. He wants to take care of his sheep. He wants to do everything to protect the sheep. And so he's like, if I have a God like that, like a shepherd, I don't need anything else. I don't want anything else. And he was very satisfied with knowing that God is truly the one that could give everything that we need.
Right. You're right. The Bible says more than 250 times that we need to praise God and we have to give him thanksgiving. More than 50 times. And so we realize that it's a very inexpensive, instrument in the hands of psychotherapists nowadays, that you can do that all the time and you can do it. Many people have written their successful testimonies just by starting being grateful for things, writing and cultivating it. it, falling off the wagon, then coming back and being thankful again, and falling off and then being thankful again. It does change you.
It does, yeah. And it's a very growing thing, because I could see how beginning we're talking about child, right? How you're taught to thank every time you give them something. Then it leads you to the point of, okay, I don't need anything. I just need God in my life. But there's an ultimate place where you could get to when you really practice gratefulness and gratitude. And we could see this experience of Paul. Paul went through a lot. He was doing ministry for God. He got persecuted. One time, him and Silas got thrown into jail. And man, at that moment, if I was in his position, I'm like, what is there to be grateful for? Life sucks. I'm in prison. And I'm trying to do something good thing, but bad thing is happening to me. But what did he do at that moment? He did not complain. He wasn't bitter, but he praised God. He showed thankfulness to God. He gave thanks to God. And I believe what he was grateful for was that he was doing God's work. And he saw that even in his moment of pain and suffering, there was a purpose that God gave him. And he believed that. And he thanked God for the opportunity. And if you guys don't know the story, it goes with how they sang hymns and songs of God. And what happened was there was a great earthquake, prison door opened, chains broken, they were free. And then afterwards, because of that freedom, he was able to preach to the jail, the soldiers at the jail. And they actually, one of them got converted, and not just him, but his whole household. And that was the purpose that Paul had in that midst of suffering and hardship. Yeah.
Yes, there is an explanation. We don't always see it right away, but we have to trust. We have to cultivate this trust, the faith in God, and believe that He can recuperate any situation. As you said, we are always aiming for more, but God wished less. He was everything, but He gave up everything for us. And if we think less of ourselves and more for others, more for God, we will be in a better place. We will be happier people, and we will regain the joy that we were talking in the beginning of the year.
Yep, that's true.
Well, we are at the end of the year, Shion, and I think it will be fair if we talk about gratitude and we make it in a more practical way. So can you tell us, maybe I'm putting you on the spot for this year, 2022, what are, let's say, 3 things that you're really grateful for?
Okay. It's actually pretty easy for me for this year. There's actually so many things to be grateful for. First one, I have to say, my wife. I got married in June this year, and my wife is the most beautiful gift that God has ever given to me. And I'm just so grateful for her and her love for me and her patience towards me, because sometimes I could be a hard husband to deal with. And second thing is, I'm grateful to be in Guam. I just came in August to work at the SDA clinic as a psychiatrist nurse practitioner. So I'm just so grateful for the work and being able to help many people here on this island, because there's a high need for mental health provider. And then the third one I'm very grateful for, honestly, is friends. I'm looking at you, Elena. You're one of my new friends here. And I'm thinking about Dr. D and Teresa, and then all these people that I've met here, and even reunited with some of my old friends. And the experience we have together, the experience that we do ministry together and serve the people in Guam together, it's just an awesome opportunity to be part of. And so I'm very grateful for that.
You're so nice to kind of summarize everything into 3 things you're grateful for, because I know there's so many more things to be grateful for. And I am very grateful. This year I completed one of my biggest dreams. I saw Mount Everest in all its glory.
Wow.
And it was just so beautiful that I realized that I really want to see the full glory of God. I just can't even imagine how amazing God is and what He has prepared for those that believe and are faithful to Him, that continue through the struggles of their daily life. So that was a great blessing to me. Another one was, which is very dear to my heart, I visited Cambodia. I went on a mission trip there. And there was there was a lady that I met that she was highly suicidal, and she really wanted to jump under the train because life was just so horrible. And we had a talk, and she hasn't committed suicide because of that.
Oh,
So, initially I was like, should I go? It's just for like 5 days. And I was really discouraged by many people not to go. I said, no, I'm sure I need to meet somebody, and that will have some purpose. And I keep on receiving pictures of her, how she is embracing life and how she is actually grateful for her life.
Yes,
For
awesome.
so many years, for 20 years, she has been wishing to be dead. And now she's grateful for being
Wow.
alive.
Okay.
So that's my second blessing. My mom was diagnosed this year with several life-threatening conditions, but she is doing well with God's grace. So I would like to be grateful, even though it wasn't easy to hear all those news, knowing that her days are numbered. I am grateful that she's still holding on well, and she is getting closer to God, and she's actually herself very grateful for it.
Awesome.
There's so many things to be grateful for, and everything bad serves for good.
Yeah.
Whatever happens in our life, give God some more time. I believe maybe next year or maybe in the next few years, God will reward you, He will recompensate you, and the most, He will bring you closer to Him. He will give you everything you've ever dreamed of and even
Amen.
more. Stay grateful.
Amen.
Thank you, Elena, and thank you, Shion, for coming onto the show. We love the topic on gratitude. And thank you, viewers, thank you, listeners, for your question. We'll see you next week, Wednesday, for more Total Health.
Be sure to check with your doctors before making any sudden life changes discussed today. Total Health is brought to you in partnership with Guam Seventh-day Adventist Clinic, where health is their mission. We look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Thank you and Sijuas Masi for listening to Total Health right here on Joy FM.